guys, it's Phoebe and welcome back to another Doctor Who video. Now today I thought we would do Doctor Who headcanons. Yes, you heard that right. I'm just deleting some TikToks on my phone. Don't know why it does that. But yeah, I thought we could talk about some Doctor Who headcanons that I love, because I went online the other day and I just typed in Doctor Who headcanons. These are headcanons that happened after each episode of Doctor Who, let's say. And I screenshotted some and I thought I would share some of my favourites with you. Now, I went into this video this week fully planned. I knew exactly what I was going to do, because I thought to myself the best video is the video that I'm going to do naturally, which is talk about Doctor Who, which is exactly what I do. So I thought, let's talk about headcanons, because I don't think I've heard many people talk about headcanons before on Doctor Who, and I think it's nice to talk about headcanons on Doctor Who when not many people know about them. So I thought I'd start with one of my favourites, which is this one. Amy and Rory are next door neighbours with Martha and Mickey, and sometimes they have a powwow and tell tales of the Doctor together. I like this one. I think this headcanon is true. It doesn't have to be true, but I think it is. I think that Martha and Mickey are next door neighbours with Amy and Rory. Imagine that. Okay, my next favourite is one day Jenny regenerated and she was ginger. I love this headcanon. I think it's the most amazing headcanon of all time. Right, one of my other ones is this one. These are just my ones I found online. I'm just going to flick through my phone, basically. While the Doctor was working at the toy shop, Donna and Wilfred visited, and when the Doctor saw them, he quickly threw his tag on the floor. Donna asked where the baby toys... while the Doctor showed her, Wilfred picked up the name tag and teared up. So basically the Doctor really had to take the name out of him, so Donna didn't actually know it was a Doctor. Because he'd regenerated into the 11th phase, she probably didn't even realise it was the Doctor, because she knows her Doctor with the 10th phase. Anyway, next one. One of Clara's echoes met Luke Rattigan and was friendly to him. She influenced him to follow his dream and be a little bit of a better person. When 10th beamed up to the Sontaran ship, Luke thought of the girl who had beaten his only real friend and decided to do something that would make her proud. I feel like that's such a heartwarming thing. Now this headcanon, I think is just ridiculous but very funny. Madame Convarian is Riversong's version of the Dream Lord. We know about the Dream Lord, we've seen it in the 11th Doctor special. So yeah, so it's kind of weird. The Doctor is so protective of Earth because he hopes humanity can be at least part of what Gallifreyan people would be if they hadn't been so keen for power. Again, that's a nice headcanon, because we know the Doctor is very protective of his Earth. He protects the people on Earth and saves them. The reason Riversong's hair is so curly because Mel's had her hair in carrows which came undone during regeneration. Wow. I think that is actually accurate. There's a picture of Mel's regenerating into Riversong, but I think that is 100% accurate. The soul of the TARDIS contains the personalities of all the Doctor's companions. This way he can never forget them. So all his companions over the years, so from Susan all the way to now, to Yaz and Dan. In the Doctor Dances, when Nancy admits to the child she's his mother, she says, "I'm so sorry." This inspires the Doctor to say the same thing in his 10th regeneration. Yeah, he does say that, "I'm so sorry." He apologises to Rose for what's about to happen. Anyway, moving on. Rory suffers from delusions and multiple personality disorder. He was never the last Centurion. He never waited for Amy, as she was more of an alternative personality. The Doctor humans Rory's fancy and found that I made adventures more exciting. We know that Rory was the last Centurion, but really what happened was that was another, reality. So that's why the Doctor jokes about the last Centurion, because that was another reality Rory was in. The Doctor suffers from nightmares because of the war and often simply runs until he can sleep without dreams. That's actually quite good. Okay, so this is not my favourite headcanon, but it will do. Rose Tyler becomes an author of children's books about her journeys with the Doctor. I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but it's nice to think about. By the way, guys, these headcanons could be true or could not be true. It doesn't necessarily mean they are true. Do your opinion anyway. At the end of her life, Rose will die and regenerate due to all her travels involving into the very first actual Time Lord. In the end, her Doctor comes back for her. They travel far back in time and they live out their days starting the race of the people of Gallifrey. That would make sense, as we know the Meta-Crisis Doctor lived with Rose and they probably got married, had children. We don't actually know. The Doctor was the one who fired the mysterious first shot at Lexington and Corduroy due to an accident in our timeline. He had to fire that first shot to ensure that the Revolutionary War would occur so the United States would exist. Probably some alien messing with the timeline, so the Doctor had to literally make sure history stayed in place, basically. Every year, the Doctor spends the anniversary of Gallifrey's destruction completely alone, with not even the TARDIS for company. If the one day he allows his guilt to rule his actions. Maybe that's true, that he does tend to spend his 1 year, the anniversary of Gallifrey's destruction, alone. Just before Donna died, well into her 90s, she was visited by a strange man in the bow tie, who she didn't recognise. With tears in his eyes, he walked to her bedside and put his hands on her forehead, whispered, "Remember." He stayed with her until she died. I think that is a lovely headcanon. It's actually one of the nicest ones, that the Doctor was there when Donna died. He gave her back all her memories. I think that is just a lovely headcanon. That when Donna died, well into her 90s, he stayed with her. I think that's a lovely headcanon. Some of the Masters fused with the Doctor when he hit him with the blue lighting in the end of time and became a small part of his regeneration. That's why 11 shows more of a darkness inside him and why he's so hungry right after regeneration. Do you guys believe that's why? I don't believe that. I believe the 11th Doctor did have a darkness inside him, yes, but I don't actually necessarily believe that he was, Donna is a fob watch to Susan. The watch remained lost until an alien spaceship piloted by Jenny crashed into the noble's house. It was one of the few things which survived. Donna opens it and becomes Susan. As well as remembering her time with the Doctor as Donna, she and Jenny go out there looking for the Doctor together. That's nice, but but I don't think that is true, because the Doctor wiped Donna's memories and the Doctor didn't give her a fob watch, so I don't think that's true. The Time Lords have one saying to explain why they have two hearts, one to feel, one to harden. When in the parallel universe, the Meta-Crisis Doctor looked up all the people who had died for him to see what had happened to them, he could never find Riversong, as he never knew to look for a pond family. On one day, Sean went online and found that a recent discovered Roman artifact had a woman on it that looked like Donna. He teased her about it, and when her grandfather overheard, he left the room without explaining why. Yeah, because we know in the Fires of Pompeii, the family the Doctor saves, they literally have their new household god, which is the Doctor, Donna, and TARDIS. I think Amazing. When Donna got married in the end of time, for some reason she couldn't explain, she insisted her wedding dress have pockets. Oh my god, yeah, because the doctor said because the doctor joked about having pockets in the wedding dress or something. I don't know. The TARDIS sneaks River in when the Doctor is too young, so that River can sleep in her own bed when Stormcage gets too much for her. Now that is a ridiculous headcanon. I don't know why. I'm going to do a part 2 to this. There's too many headcanons to fit in one video. Sally Sparrow and Larry Nightingale had a daughter named Florence, who was Rory's classmate in nursery school. They became friends after he stood up to people who made fun of her name, and they're still in touch. That is a nice headcanon. I like that. I've not actually read any of these yet. I didn't read many of these. Sean Temple used to live in Cardiff. When he moved to Chiswick, one of his friends secretly set him up with Donna. Sean asked Donna how she knew Jack, but she had no idea who he meant. When Clara Oswald says she got the Doctor's number from a woman in the shop, she got it from Rose. That is generally true, because some woman in the shop gave Clara the Doctor's number, so you know. The Flash of... Hang on. I'm not going to read that one, because that's a bit... Sometimes, just for fun, the Doctor changes Amy's autocorrect in her cell to random words, sexy Alonzi, and every so often bad wolf. That is the most funniest headcanon I have ever seen I've ever read, actually. A few years after marrying Sean, Donna became a fan of Agatha Christie books. Her favourite was Death in the Clouds. The creatures on Midnight involved Into the Silence. Okay. After the death of his mistress, Sarah Jane, K9 roams all around the UK searching for his master, who is off somewhere in time and space. Obvious to this. So K9, after Sarah Jane died, didn't go to Luke because Luke wasn't really his master. The Doctor is. So K9 is probably still looking for the Doctor somewhere. Like, the K9 doesn't even know the Doctor's a woman now. So I reckon we're gonna have K9 in the new series in series 13. I don't know, but maybe K9 did eventually find his master or his mistress now. Riversong and the Doctor have a daughter that he doesn't know about. Because their timelines run in different directions, her daughter is Clara Oswald, whose timeline is also run in a different direction. Oh my god. I did not know about this. So the Doctor does have a daughter, Clara, but the Doctor doesn't know about it. All the Doctor thinks is Clara's a friend. Like, the Doctor doesn't think Clara is his daughter. When the Doctor closes his eyes or stares in the distance, he imagines himself as a human, just an ordinary human with ordinary responsibilities rather than saving the universe, like his MI basically. Riversong was a student under Bernie Summerfield, but thought her strange and didn't think River was really interested in history or archaeology. Nurse Renfrew and John Smith lived out the life we see in the Family of Blood in one of the alternate universes. Geoffrey Noble's younger sister, Tabled the Noble, got married to a lovely man named Augustus and had a daughter, Amelia. As Amelia would grow, she would tell her whole family of her raggedy doctor. And the only one that could play along with the whole charade was her elder cousin Donna. Donna didn't make the correction until one of her last moments, beginning the Doctor's companion. That is nice. I like that. The Doctor won't tell anyone his name because he doesn't even remember it. It's been so long since he heard his own language and his own name, he's forgotten it. So the Doctor obviously does have a name. He doesn't just go by the Doctor, but to his friends he goes by the Doctor, but he obviously can't remember his own name. The only person who knows his name is River somehow. I don't know. A couple more. The Doctor will one day go again to the parallel universe he left Rose and the Meta-Crisis Doctor in and watch them live an adventure and happy life together before going back to his own universe. When Amy was counting down in Flesh and Stone, for a brief moment she saw the Doctor's regeneration flash before her eyes. In the God Complex, I believe the Doctor saw himself in his room. The Doctor returned to the library after he saved River Song. He unloaded her conscious into the newborn flesh baby he engineered from her DNA. Then he returned baby Melody to her mother, just like he promised. He's a doctor and his name is Who. That's actually quite good. And we're going to finish on one more. We're going to finish on this one. I think Sarah Jane died in universe when Liz died, and Luke is secretly angry at the Doctor for not saving her. Okay, one more. Last one. When Tony Tyler was growing up, his big sister Rose would tell him stories of a magic man. In a blue box, Tony remembered these stories, and when he got older, became a writer famous for a book series about the companions of that man. I'm going to have to read you this one, guys. Melody was brought up by Sarah Jane, who was a handful and always in trouble, but deep down they both loved each other dearly. This is the last one, guys. I'm sorry, but this is the last one. When the Doctor eventually dies, the TARDIS will lock its doors and fly to start the universe and watch creation spring forth before it finally dies. That's nice. So those are some of the Doctor Who headcanons. I'll do a part 2 to this, definitely, because there's a lot more here that I want to read and stuff. There's a lot more here that I want you guys to, hear about. But I do like a lot of those headcanons. Which ones are your favourite? Comment that down below. And if you've never seen my face on your screens before, please click that big red subscribe button down below and click notifications to get notifications every time I upload. So, yeah, I kind of like most of those headcanons. I like the one about Amy and Rory living next door to Martha and Mickey. Let me know which one's your favourite. I actually remembered that I had to film a video when I was playing Sims. I'm going to carry on playing Sims or else I'm uploading this video. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you guys next week. Alonzi!